If you're at an intermediate level in Russian, you've probably learned to use который in sentences like «Вот студенты, которые живут в общежитии». There's another way to express the same thought in Russian, and it looks like this. «Вот студенты, живущие в общежитии». The meaning is essentially the same, but you'll notice a couple of differences. In the second sentence, we don't see который. We do see a form that seems to start like a verb, but on the ending it looks more like an adjective. In fact, it is an adjective that's derived from a verb, so let's call it a verbal adjective, or a participle. The participle in this example replaces a verb in the present tense, живут, and the noun it refers to, the students, are the subjects of that second clause, so they're doing something, they're active. So let's call this a present active participle. Russian has 4 types of participles, but in this video we'll just look at the first type, the present active. Let's start with a few more examples. Remember that these participles refer to someone or something that's doing something, and see if you can figure out the meaning before the translation appears. Студенты, изучающие русский язык, очень умные. Вот фотографии москвичей, читающих газету в метро. Она пишет студентам, учащимся в России. Они слушают переводчицу, говорящую по-китайски. Надо говорить с учеными, занимающимися этим вопросом. Она думает о молодых людях, танцующих в зале. Now, since all these are adjectives derived from verbs, they do need to change for case, etc., but regardless of the endings in all these examples, you'll notice that letter sha just before the ending that lets you know that it's a present active participle. Someone or something is doing something. To make a present active participle, let's start from the они form. Они изучают. Then we'll drop that final te. We'll add the letter sha and an adjective ending, и краткое, to get изучающий. Let's try that with a few others. Они читают, drop the te from the end, add sha and an adjective ending to get читающий. We can do exactly the same thing with second conjugation verbs like говорить. Они говорят, drop the te, add щи, говорящий. And here's one more. Они танцуют, remove te, add щи to get танцующий. But what is the infinitive here? Well, I want to remember that with most verbs that end in ovats or yevats, this ova or yeva element is replaced by u in the present or perfective future. That's why the present active participle from танцевать is танцующий. And it's a good reminder that we can't safely figure the participle from the infinitive. You always want to start from the они form. And here's one more. Они занимаются. Remove the t, but we do want to keep the reflexive ending there, so we'll insert щи and put it all together for занимающийся. And there is one more little quirk to remember here. You've probably learned that the reflexive ending ся has the form s мягкий знак, or soft sign, after a vowel. And that is nearly always true, but participles are the exception. Participles made from verbs with a reflexive suffix always have s я even after a vowel. So the plural form here will be занимающиеся, and that is spelled with the letter ya on the end. Now that we know how to form them, let's go back to our examples and look at usage. Since participles are adjectives, they need to agree in gender and number and case with the noun that they modify. Студенты, изучающие русский язык, очень умные. Студенты is nominative plural, so we'll use the nominative plural form изучающие. Вот фотография москвичей, читающих газету в метро. Here, москвичей is genitive plural, so let's use the genitive plural form in читающих. This is actually an important difference from который. You'll recall that the case ending for который depends on its function in the clause where it occurs. For example, они слушают переводчицу, которая говорит по-китайски. Here, переводчицу is in the accusative since she's the direct object in that first clause. But которая is nominative because the translator would be the subject of the second clause. She speaks Chinese. Let's compare that to expressing the same thought with the participle. Они слушают переводчицу, говорящую по-китайски. Just as before, переводчицу is accusative, since she is the direct object in that first clause, but the participle говорящую is also accusative to agree with переводчицу. Even though participles always have adjective endings, sometimes you'll see participles used as nouns. Учащийся, from учиться, that's someone who studies or a student. Курящий, from курить, someone who smokes. Or пьющий, someone who drinks, often for the context of alcohol, from пить. By the way, one polite way to decline an offer of a drink in Russia is to say «Спасибо, я не пьющий», or, of course, if you're a woman, «Я не пьющая». If you haven't seen participles like these in your first year or two of Russian, it's because they're used most often in writing or in formal speech. You can get by just fine without using them in conversation, though there are some words you may already know that are in fact participles. For example, следующий, from следовать, to follow. You'll hear this one on the Russian subways all the time.
Осторожно, двери закрываются. Следующая станция Сири. Платформа справа.
By the way, you can find more recordings like that and anything else you could possibly want to know about the Russian subways at Artemy Lebedyev's encyclopedic site at www.metro.ru. Another example of where you'll see these forms in daily life is if you set a Gmail account to the Russian language setting. You'll see this option, входящее сообщение. Now again, the letter «ща» shows that it's a present active participle here. Входить is to enter or come in, so входящее сообщение is literally messages that are coming in. In other words, it's your inbox. So it really is worth it to get comfortable with participles. Once you know how to look for them, you'll hear them pretty often, and you'll see them in writing everywhere, in literature, in newspapers, signs, and in all kinds of written Russian. Summing up, present active participles are formed from the они form of the present tense. Remove the final te, add sha, and an adjective ending. Like most other adjectives, they always agree in gender, number, and case with the nouns that they modify. They mean that someone or someone is doing or does something in the present. You won't need participles too much for informal conversation, but for reading Russian, they really are essential.